ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणम्। हरे कृष्ण। Welcome back to today's episode of the Mahabharata. In the last episode, we have seen how the Pandavas have settled down in Indraprastha, and Lord Krishna has come to Indraprastha to stay for a few days with them. And Agnidev has taken the opportunity to approach Krishna and Arjuna to help him out with his malady, which can be cured only by consuming the Khandava forest. The problem being Indra, because Indra was the lord of the Khandava forest and he would not allow Agni to consume the forest. Now, what happened when Arjuna and Krishna decided to help Agnidev is what we will see today. Agnidev, when he approached Krishna and Arjuna for their help to consume the Khandava forest, Krishna was inclined to help Agnidev because, like we had discussed in the last episode, Agnidev had gifted Krishna the Sudarshana Chakra. Arjuna, when he saw that Krishna wants to help Agnidev, he also agreed to help Agnidev. And so, Krishna driving the chariot, Arjuna with his bow and arrows, accompanying Agnidev, went to the Khandava forest. When Agnidev, on the strength of the presence of Arjuna and Krishna, started consuming the Khandava forest, immediately Indra got the news, and he, along with all his soldiers, with his army, came to the spot and challenged Arjuna. Arjuna was all alone with only Krishna as his charioteer, but he accepted the challenge of Indra and all the Devatas. And there was a valiant fight between Indra and the Devatas on one side and Arjuna on the other side, guided by Krishna. Despite the greater numerical strength of the Devatas and their divine powers, still Arjuna was able to fend off the Devatas, and finally he defeated Indra and the Devatas in the battle. And Indra had to retreat. And Agnidev, without any obstacle, he continued on his consumption of the Khandava forest by burning it down. Now, in that forest, there were many reptiles, herbs, trees, plants, etc. When Agnidev was consuming all of them without any discrimination, there was one Asura called Mayadanava who had also taken shelter in that forest. When Mayadanava saw this entire forest fire enveloping him, and he saw how he was about to be consumed by the fire, he started running from the fire. And when he started running from the fires also started chasing him. And when Krishna saw that Mayadanava is trying to escape, Krishna immediately sent his Sudarshana Chakra behind him. Now Mayadanava was being chased by Agni on one side and Sudarshana on the other, and he is running from both of them. And this Mayadanava was very fearful for his life, not knowing where to go, what to do. He saw Arjuna standing there, he went and fell at his feet. And he begged him, please give me shelter, please protect me. The moment Agnidev and the Sudarshana disc, they saw that Mayadanava had approached Arjuna both of them held back. And Arjuna, generally, it is a Kshatriya's duty to give protection to anyone who surrenders to them. Arjuna, according to the codes of dharma of a Kshatriya, he assured Mayadanava of his protection. And because Arjuna assured him protection, therefore the Agnidev and the Sudarshana disc, they excused Mayadanava and they did not further chase him. And in this manner, Agnidev consumed the Khandava forest to his satisfaction, and ultimately his malady was cured because of all the herbs within that forest which he could consume. And after consuming the forest and Agnidev being cured of his malady, he came to thank Arjuna and Krishna. And to express his gratitude to Arjuna, Agnidev gifted him with a wonderful bow. And the name of that bow was Gandiva. And this is the very famous bow of Arjuna with which he fought all the rest of the battles in his life. Agnidev also gifted Arjuna with a quiver in which there were 2 invincible arrows. They could never be stopped by anyone else. They were so powerful. Agnidev also gifted a wonderful chariot to Arjuna pulled by 4 steeds. Like this, Agnidev gifted this wonderful chariot as well as the Gandiva bow and a quiver with 2 invincible arrows to Arjuna. And then after this whole incident, Agnidev departed back to his own abode. Now Mayadanava was still there in the presence of Arjuna and Krishna, and after Agnidev had left, Mayadanava also wanted to express his gratitude to Arjuna. And therefore he requested Arjuna, I want to repay my gratitude to you. Please order me. I would like to serve you in some way to repay my gratitude. But Arjuna said, no, you have taken shelter of me for protection of your life. And it was my duty, so I have done my duty. I am not expecting anything in return from you. But Mayadanava was very insistent, something he wanted to do for Arjuna. And Krishna, therefore, Krishna wanted to engage Mayadanava in some service of Arjuna. Why? Because Arjuna is a great pure devotee of Krishna. And anybody who serves a pure devotee, there is immense spiritual benefit that person gets. Actually, in this world, if we engage in any pious activities, punya karma, they assure for themselves some happiness in the future, either in this life or the next life. But then if we render service to a pure devotee of Krishna, like Arjuna, then that service gives us not punya, but it gives us sukriti. The difference between punya and sukriti is like this. Punya entails, punya assures some happiness for us in the future. Whenever the circumstances are favorable and the fruit of that punya we enjoy, the punya gets exhausted by that. It is just like you have a bank account and you deposited some money into that. The money will sit in your account. And someday when you want to spend that money, you withdraw that money and you buy some object for yourself. Then that account gets depleted by that much amount. In a similar way, the moment we enjoy the result of our punya, then that punya becomes depleted and it gets finished. So if we want to continue our happiness in this world, then we have to continually keep doing punya karmas, pious activities. Now where this differs from sukriti is that whenever we render service to some great Vaishnava, some great pure devotee of Krishna or Vishnu, is that the Sukriti which accrues to us out of such service can never be destroyed. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So there are two important ways in which the Sukriti of serving a pure devotee differs from doing any pious activities. If we give dana, if we help some poor person, establish some hospital, we build an orphanage, etc., etc. There are many pious activities that a person can do. When he engages in those pious activities, he acquires punya karma to his credit. But when a person renders service to a pure devotee, to a Vaishnava, then what happens is the Sukriti that he gets, number one, it can never diminish or never can it be destroyed. Number two is the result of such service is we will get liberated from this material world and we will gain residence in the spiritual world. Punya karma can never elevate you to the spiritual world. Punya karma by its nature, pious activities by its nature will bind you to this material world to take repeated birth to be able to enjoy the fruits of that pious activity. Whereas the Sukriti, the result of devotional service to a pure devotee or to Krishna directly will elevate us to the spiritual world beyond the cycle of birth and death in this material world. Lord Krishna, wanting to benefit Mayadanava eternally like this, he wanted Mayadanava to get something more than just Punya Karma. So he wanted to engage Mayadanava in Arjuna's service. And therefore he told Mayadanava that why don't you build a nice palace for the Pandavas? They have come to this new city, Indraprastha, and they are still building the city. So why don't you help them? Because Krishna knew that this Mayadanava had a very good skill in constructing beautiful buildings. Generally, these Danavas or Asuras, those who are not devotees of Krishna, they are very highly skilled in some material art or the other. They are very talented in the material field. But all their activities will generally end up in some sort of disturbance for the society or the other. Just like some people invented the nuclear bomb. So, to invent the nuclear bomb, you need very good intelligence, you need a very good brain, and you need in-depth knowledge of science, physics, etc. Therefore, to invent the nuclear bomb is not an ordinary thing. It requires extraordinary intelligence, skill, ability, planning, and so many such things. But then already people are dying in this world. What is the use of inventing something which is going to accelerate the death of people? That is the nature of the Danavas who invent horrible things within this material world. Whereas pure devotees like Arjuna, they are always engaged in activities to relieve the people permanently from the distress in this world and take them back to Godhead. So, Krishna, knowing Mayadanava's ability and his talent, he decided to engage him in Arjuna's and the Pandavas' service, and he asked Mayadanava to build a nice palace for the Pandavas. And thus Mayadanava immediately, very happily, he took up that work, and because he was grateful to Arjuna for having saved his life, and he built a wonderful palace for the Pandavas in Indraprastha. This palace was very beautifully done with intricate carvings and wonderful marble and granite flooring, and it had wonderful, it could create certain visual illusions by which when a person enters some hall, he will think there is water on the floor, but there will be no water. And where there are some water bodies, some small artificial ponds created, visually people would not be able to make out that there is a pond there, and they would end up falling into the pond if they were unaware of the layout of the palace. Some interesting thing like this he made, and he built this wonderful palace and offered it to the Pandavas. And the Pandavas shifted into this palace. They were very happy. And not only did Mayadanava build this palace for the Pandavas, he also gifted a Gada to Bhima, because he knew that Bhima liked Gada Yuddha. He liked to play around with the mace. So he gifted him with a mace. And he also, Mayadanava also gifted the conch shell named Devadatta to Arjuna. And Arjuna carried this. And in the Bhagavad Gita also it says that when the battle of Kurukshetra was beginning, at that time, Arjuna blew the Devadatta conch to announce the beginning of the war. So Arjuna carried that, he treasured that conch, and he carried with him always the conch too. Now, when the Pandavas were staying in the Indraprastha like this along with Krishna, Yudhishthira Maharaj requested Krishna to improve the infrastructure of the city and to build a much better city in Indraprastha. Because Krishna is always wanting to help his devotees, he is Bhakta Vatsala, he is always thinking of the welfare of the devotees, he immediately called Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma is the chief engineer of all the Devatas, of all the demigods, and he generally carries out all the civil works and the infrastructure works required in the Swargalokas, in the heavenly kingdoms. Krishna called him, and he told him to plan and build the Indraprastha city in a much better way. And Vishwakarma also gladly, because it was Krishna's order. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the master of even all the Devatas. He immediately took up that task and built a wonderful city around this palace which Mayadanava had already built. And so naturally, the news of this wonderful city started spreading far and wide. A lot of people slowly started coming in, they started settling, various artisans came, agriculturists, businessmen, and various artists. All this kind of people started coming and populating Indraprastha city. One day, Arjuna and Krishna, they went out for a little hunt. The Kshatriyas generally used to go for hunting in the forests, because within the forest there would be many rishis, sadhus, saints. They would build their hermitages there, far away from the cities, and because they needed a secluded place, and they would execute their yoga practices in the forest and their various spiritual activities. Whenever there would be some disturbances caused to the rishis and sages on account of some wild animals, like there may be some bears, there may be lions, tigers, rhinoceroses, etc. The Kshatriyas would go to the forest from time to time, and whatever disturbing animals would be there, they would hunt them down and restore peace within the forests. In the same vein, Krishna accompanied Arjuna when Arjuna wanted to go on this hunting expedition to remove the disturbing animals within the forest. Not only that, Krishna also wanted to see how Arjuna gets trained up, because Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is omniscient. He knows what is going to happen in the future. Like the Kurukshetra war is going to come up in the future. Arjuna would have to fight with so many great generals in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna was preparing Arjuna for that. Krishna also went along with Arjuna, and after a sufficient amount of time spending in the hunting, Arjuna felt thirsty, and he asked Krishna to take the chariot towards the Yamuna river, because Khandaprastha is on the western banks of the Yamuna river. Krishna took the chariot along with Arjuna. They parked it near the Yamuna Ji, and they drank the fresh, cool waters of the Yamuna, and they just relaxed there for some time. When Krishna and Arjuna were relaxing like this, they saw a beautiful young girl bedecked with various ornaments and dressed very attractively, walking along the bank of the Yamuna river. When Krishna saw this, Krishna told Arjuna, "Looks like this young girl is not yet married and she is looking for a suitable groom to marry her. Why don't you talk to her and find out what is the purpose of her walking here all alone?" She was there all alone. Arjuna therefore approached this girl, and he asked, and he introduced himself. He said, "I am Arjuna, the one of the Pandava brothers, and with me is Krishna, and we have come to this forest for a hunting expedition, and we happen to see you all alone walking on this banks of the Yamuna. So I was just curious to know who you are, why you are walking here all alone, and is there some help we can render? Can we be of some service to you? Then the girl replied, my name is Kalindi, and I am the daughter of the sun god. I am the daughter of Surya. So the Surya Dev, the sun god, his daughter is Kalindi or Yamuna. Another name for Yamuna is Kalindi. So this girl was Yamuna personified. Yamaraj is another son of Surya Dev. Yamuna and Yamaraj are brother and sister. And that is how during Diwali there is a big celebration of Bhaiya Dooj. And this celebration is centered around the brother and sister relationship between Yamunaji and Yamaraj. Yamuna informed Arjuna further that she had decided that she would marry only Vishnu and she would not marry anyone else. And she told Arjuna, it is my ardent desire to obtain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, as my husband. And since you are a devotee of Lord Krishna, I am requesting you, you please pray to Vishnu that he may accept me as his wife. The reason why Yamuna asked Arjuna to pray to Vishnu is because when a devotee prays to Krishna, Krishna is more inclined to accept the prayer of that devotee. If anyone approaches Krishna directly, asking something, praying for something, then Krishna is not so inclined, Krishna is not so pleased. But if his pure devotee asks him something for some other devotee, then Krishna cannot refuse. This is a very important principle that we have to understand. In the Adi Purana, Lord Krishna, while speaking to Arjuna, he informed Arjuna, Ye me bhakta janaha partha, na me bhaktascha te janaha, mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktas, te me bhaktatama mataha. Krishna said to Arjuna that those who consider themselves directly my devotees are not factually my devotees. In fact, Krishna said, Mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktaha, those who are devotees of my pure devotees, factually they are the real devotees. This is another reason why to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to approach Krishna, we have to take shelter of a spiritual master who is a pure devotee of Krishna. If we directly try to become a devotee of Krishna, then Krishna will not be pleased with us. But if we accept a pure devotee as our spiritual master, as our guru, and we serve him and his instructions and we please him, then Krishna will be pleased to accept us as his devotee. That is why from time to time Krishna sends his great devotees, pure devotees, as acharyas, like Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came, Srila Prabhupada. These are all great acharyas who are pure devotees. When we surrender ourselves to them, when we surrender to Srila Prabhupada and accept him as our guru, and Prabhupada gives us an assurance that he will take us back to Godhead if we follow all his instructions of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, 16 malas without fail, following the 4 regulatory principles of no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex and no gambling, and we follow all the instructions of Prabhupada, then Prabhupada is assuring us that he will take us back to Godhead. So therefore, if we please Prabhupada by following all his instructions, then Krishna will definitely take us back to Godhead. Krishna cannot refuse us. Therefore, Kalindi requested Arjuna to pray on her behalf to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna came back to Krishna and he informed him, look Krishna, it is like this. and she wants to marry only you. Therefore, immediately Krishna accepted her request and he took her also onto the chariot. And like this, Arjuna and Krishna, along with Kalindi, they returned back to Hastinapura, or rather to Indraprastha. After Krishna brought Kalindi along with Arjuna back to Indraprastha, the time period of the 4 months of Chaturmasya was getting over, and Krishna had stayed for the full 4 months of Chaturmasya in Indraprastha to please his devotees, the Pandavas. Chaturmasya having got over, Krishna along with Kalindi, he went back to Dwaraka. There he married Kalindi in a proper wedding in the presence of all the elders there. Now in the meantime, in the province of Madra Desha, which is current day Tamil Nadu, those days it was known as Madra Desha or Madras, there was a king by name Brihatsena. He had a daughter by name Lakshmana. This Brihatsena wanted to conduct a Swayamvara for his daughter. He also, like Drupada, wanted to get the best of the grooms as his son-in-law. Therefore, he also decided to create a contest similar to what Drupada had created. If you all recall, Drupada had fixed a fish on the top of a long pole, below which there was a revolving wheel with many spokes, and below the pole there was a pool of water which was created, which was constantly, it had ripples in it. The water was constantly moving, and looking at the moving reflection of the fish within the water, the person had to shoot the arrow. That was the contest that Drupada had thought of, which Arjuna managed to win that contest. Now in this, the task set forth by Drupada was next to impossible, which only Arjuna could achieve. Now Brihatsena went one step further. What he did, exactly like what Drupada did, he had a long pole, there was a fish suspended from the top of it, a revolving wheel beneath it, and a pool of water below, and the water was constantly moving. Over and above this, what he did was, he put a cloth and covered the fish. Now when you look at the reflection of the fish in the water, you could see only the covering of the fish. Now looking at that, the Kshatriya had to estimate the position of the eye of the fish and it had to pierce it. It was practically impossible. But Brihatsena wanted the best, even better than Arjuna, he wanted somebody, and so therefore he made this contest, and then he sent out invitations all over the world. Kings from different parts of the world converged on Madra Desha, and they all came to win the hand of Lakshmana. Many stalwart king came. Even Karna had come, Duryodhana had also come, Arjuna was there, of course. Other kings like Shishupala, Jayadratha, they had all come. And now, who could win this impossible contest and win the hand of Lakshmana? Please join us in our next episode to know about this. Thank you for joining us today. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.